Hello, welcome back. So let's continue from where we left off in the last video. So we had calculated the explicit form for the spin matrix Sz for an electron, and we can similarly find the spin matrix S squared for an electron. Matrix for an electron. The explicit computation, as I would mention again, the explicit computations here are for electron, but the general formalism obeys exactly the same way for other spin, other than spin half, S equals half. Now we can figure out the form of S squared. This is an operator for an electron. So while writing the matrix form, as I have been saying, you have to first specify what basis. So in our case, the basis always is S-ms basis, which is the basis of S squared and Sz eigenstates. And for the case of electrons specifically, it's going to be a 2 by 2 matrix, and the basis is half plus half, half minus half, and for the row labels, it would be counted as it would enter in the computations as a bra. And it's even more easier. There will be 4 entries here, and we want to figure out what could be the 4 entries. So I can do the computations for one of these. So for example, I could do the computation for this matrix element. So I want to compute this matrix element. So the matrix element is for S squared operator, and this matrix element amounts to the column half minus half, and the row entry here, so this is the column entry, this is the row entry. The row entry here is half minus half, and now I should know how it acts on these cases. And I already know that, as I have achieved earlier, that S squared acting on these eigenstates would give me S into S plus 1 h bar squared, and the same state again. So I can use this is the S for my case, small s, not the operator, and this is ms. And if I want to see how S squared acts on these, I can straight away use this eigenvalue equation, and I can write it. So S squared acting on this state would give me S in our case is half, S for electron is always half. We take this data that S is equals to half, we take this information from the experiment, but if we go to some higher level of theory, some more complicated, a more complete description of particles with spin, for example, if you consider Dirac equation, that is a relativistic treatment of the particles with spin, of electron which has a spin. So if I consider Dirac equation for electron, and then I would see that this information that S is equals to half, that I do not have to borrow from experiments in an ad hoc manner. So that follows from the mathematical formalism, from the theory itself. But here in this non-relativistic description, in which I use Schrodinger equation instead of the Dirac equation, this information has to be taken from experiments in an ad hoc manner. So that was a bit of digression. So coming back to our computation, so now I can see how it acts on this ket. So this acts on this ket. So S value is half here. So the eigenvalue is half into half plus 1 h bar squared, S into S plus 1, and the same ket again. Because this is constant, this whole thing comes out of this inner product. I get half minus half. And because it is the inner product with itself, so this inner product gives me the number 1. So I am left with half into half plus 1 h bar squared, and this gives me 3 by 4 h bar squared. So this is the matrix corresponding to S squared, and this matrix element explicitly is 3 by 4 h squared, and this is exactly that eigenvalue that we computed earlier. And the other matrix elements, you can do the computations. It's very straightforward computation. You can do it for yourself and you'll enjoy it. And I'll write the result here. So these off-diagonal terms are 0, as you would expect, because you're writing S squared in the basis of S squared. So the off-diagonal terms are expected to be 0. It's just expected to be a diagonal matrix. And this also comes out to be 3 by 4 h bar squared. So this is the form of the S squared matrix. And because for S squared, as we know that S is always equals to the small s, the number small s, is always equals to half. So it has only one eigenvalue. S into S plus 1 is always 3 by 4 h bar square. So it's not plus minus half. That sign thing, it goes with Sz but not with S square. So it has the same eigenvalues always. And I've been dealing with S squared. You can also, so this is the total spin angular momentum squared magnitude. If you just want the magnitude of total spin angular momentum, so that is just the root of these eigenvalues. So I can just write very quickly the S operator in SMS basis, and this is the basis for S squared and Sz operator. That I can write it because it's just the square root of these entries. Okay, so it could be written as root 3 by 2 h bar 0 0 root 3 by 2 h bar, and this is for electron zoom. So the total spin magnitude is root 3 by 2 h bar, but the small s is half. So that is why, and these are s into s plus 1 whole root h bar. So that is why, just for convenience, so this is more complicated to bring up all the time. So that is why it's more convenient to talk in terms of small s in terms of this root eigenvalue of the total spin operator. I've been mentioning it again because it's an important point to keep in mind. So this is the spin matrix for S operator. So these are the easy computations. We have done it for Sz and we have done it for S square, and this was easy because the basis was of S square and Sz, and these matrices were expected to be diagonal matrices with the diagonal entries representing the eigenvalues. Now the task that is remaining is to find out the form of matrices for S squared and for Sx and Sy operators. So the task is to find the form of matrices for Sx and Sy operators. And now, because my basis is for S squared and Sz operator, and Sx, Sy and Sz do not commute, so that is why Sx and Sy operator matrices in this basis, in the basis of Sz, is not expected to be a purely diagonal matrix. So for this I have to work a bit harder to find out the form of matrices for Sx and Sy operator. So let's see how we tackle this problem. It's in general going to be an off-diagonal matrix because Sz does not commute with Sx and Sy. So because I mentioned in the beginning, the spin operators obey the same algebra as the angular momentum operators. Because both are angular momentums, both are rotation operators, so they obey the same algebra. And the form of matrix elements, we have already done computations for the form of matrix elements for Lx and Ly. So this matrix element computation we have already done. And the matrix elements for Lx and Ly depends on just the commutation relations. So the matrix element formula that we had earlier derived for the Lx and Ly operators, that it just depends on the commutation relations. So just because of the fact that Sx and the spin angular momentum operator and the orbital angular momentum operator, they obey the same commutation relations, it tells you straight away that the form of matrix elements is also the same for these matrix elements Lx and Ly. So you would recall very quickly, I have collected all these formulas for the matrix elements of Sx and Sy operators here, and I have just taken these, I have just adopted these from Lx and Ly results. So these form of operators, they follow after defining Sx and S plus and S minus. These are the raising and lowering operators for spin in terms of Sx and Sy. And you would recall quickly that this is how it acts on our basis states of S squared and Sz. And using these and this formula, these follow pretty easily. So this is a straightforward computation. I have taken it from the orbital angular momentum results. And the Kronecker deltas, the delta symbol that you can see here, as you might know already, but I'll just mention here that if I write delta xy, so it's a Kronecker delta, it would be equal to 1 if and only if x equals y, and it would be 0 otherwise. So only if these these numbers listed here, x and y, if these are equal, this would give you 1. Otherwise, straight away the whole term will give you, the Kronecker delta is giving you 0. That is why that whole term will give you 0. So that would, so you first have to figure out whether that Kronecker delta survives or not, and that simplifies your calculations. So these are the form of the matrix elements that would hold for the spin operators Sx and Sy, and this is for a general spin operator. S could be anything. We are interested here in S equals half, but S could be anything. So this is for general S. S could be 0, half, 1, 3 half. Any integer of half integer number is fine. This is a general formula, and we are now going to use it for spin half operators because we are interested in electrons. So using these, we can compute the form of spin operators, form of Sx. So we'll start with Sx. We are left with Sx and Xy. So we'll first deal with Sx. Form of Sx. So basically the matrix form of Sx for an electron. So this is for an electron, and in, of course, as we have been doing in SMS basis. So what we want is, we want to write the Sx operator matrix in SMS basis, and this is the S squared and Sz basis. And straight away this will tell me, because this is an Sz basis, Sz does not compute with Sx, so this is not going to be a pure diagonal matrix. So there could be elements on off diagonals as well. So there will be 4 entries. Again, it's the same thing. The eigenvectors for the case of electron, because I'm dealing with electron, so that is half plus half and half minus half, and here also the eigenvectors are half plus half and half minus half. So I want to figure out what are the entries, 4 entries here, and it's a 2 by 2 matrix. So let's start with any one of these. So let's just see, I'll do this computation. So let's just start with this computation. So I want to calculate the matrix element for Sx operator, and the specific matrix element that I am interested in is this matrix element. So the column label that goes as a ket, so this is half half, and the row label that goes as a bra, and this is the column, this is the row that goes as half minus half here. So this is precisely the matrix element that I am interested in, and it resembles with this form. So if I start comparing it here, so let me just keep it here. So if I start comparing, I can see that for my case, this is S prime and MS prime. So for my case, this is S prime, this is MS prime, this is S, and this is MS. So for my case, S prime is always equals to S. So I have S prime equals S, which is equal to half. And all of these two terms, they depend on, they have delta S prime in these. And because S and S prime for my case is always half, because my case is an electron. So these two terms, delta S prime, in my case, would give me 1 because S equals S prime. So these two terms would give me 1. Now I see that MS prime and MS prime is minus half and MS is half. So I can see here that because MS prime is minus half here, so this is minus, so the first term here would be, I have a term like delta MS prime, MS plus 1. So let's just test whether this Kronecker delta survive or not. I have MS prime is equal to minus half and MS which is equal to plus half. So my MS plus 1 would be plus half plus 1. So that is 3 by 2. And these are not equal. So this Kronecker delta would give me 0. And this first term here would not survive. So this term here would not survive for this matrix element. And then I can also test it for the other Kronecker delta function here. So the other Kronecker delta function here gives me delta MS prime MS minus 1, this second one. So this second one gives me, I have MS prime, in my case equals minus half, and MS minus 1 which is required here, that would be equal to, MS is plus half in my case, MS plus half minus 1, so I get minus half. So this Kronecker delta, so these two entries are now equal, So this Kronecker delta survives because this Kronecker delta does not survive. So this gives me 0, this whole term is 0. So I'm just concerned with this term. This is 1, this is 1. And what I am left with, so I'll just write that I am interested in the matrix element half minus half. So this is the matrix element that I was interested in. So you could just see here. And I have rewritten it here. And also from all these computations, I have just now established that for this matrix element, the only term that survives is this. So because this is 0, so this whole term goes to 0, and these two are 1, so this is only the thing that survives for my case. And now I can put this, for my case, this is the S, and this is the MS. So now I can put for my case these values and figure out what would be the desired matrix element. So S for my case is plus half, so I substitute it here. MS is also plus half, and I again substitute these values here. So I get rid of these and I get, so this matrix element here that I started out with is H cross by 2. So the matrix element here that I started out with, this is an off-diagonal matrix element. So now you can see that I was calculating an off-diagonal matrix element, and unlike S squared and SZ matrices, this matrix element is non-zero. And in a similar way, I could do the computation for some other matrix element. For example, I could choose a diagonal matrix element for you now. So maybe I can start with this matrix element, and I can do all the computations. So the matrix element that I am interested in right now is this matrix element. So I can write it as, this is a matrix element of Sx, and the column entry here is, that goes as a kit, is half minus half, and the row entry here that goes as a bra is half minus half as well. And then if I compare it with my formula here for the matrix element of Sx operator over here, then I can see that this is my MS, this is my S, this is MS prime, and this is S prime. I compare it with that, and then again I see that in my case S prime equals S equals half, so delta S prime is always 1. So all these two terms are not ruled out on the basis of this first delta. And then I figure out the other deltas. So for example, I look at delta MS prime, MS plus 1. So this is not a prime, it's just 1. So this is delta MS prime, MS plus 1. And in our case, MS prime, so this first delta, second delta in the first term, and this MS prime, as we have seen in our case, is minus half, and MS for our case is also minus half. Okay. So the MS is also minus half, but MS plus 1 is something that I am interested in. So this is minus half plus 1. So that gives me plus half. So these two terms, one is minus, one is plus, so they don't match. So this delta in our case would give me 0. And you can also check that the other delta, the delta that is delta term that is required in the second term, that is delta MS prime, delta, and the other term which is delta MS prime, MS minus 1, this would be again, as you check, minus half and minus half minus 1. So this doesn't match, and this also gives me 0. So in our case, all the deltas here, so the delta SS prime was non-zero, but these two deltas, delta MS prime, MS minus 1, and MS, delta MS prime, MS plus 1, both are 0. So both of these terms, they vanish, and I am left with a 0 for this matrix element. So the matrix element that I started off with was this matrix element, and I get a 0 for this matrix element. So in this case, unlike the others, there are off-diagonal entries, and it happens to be the case that the diagonal entries, the other terms you can figure out for yourself. So you can compute for yourself. I have set up, this is the procedure, and it's pretty simple. You figure out the deltas, whether they survive or they vanish, and then you just put these values in the remaining terms in this expression. And you'll figure out the matrix elements, and the others would be explicitly this is 0 and this would come out to be h bar by 2. So this is the form of matrix element, and it is not a pure diagonal matrix, and in fact in this case it turns out to be a pure off diagonal matrix. And in a similar manner you can use this form of matrix element for sy operators, and you can figure out what could be the form of spin operator sy in the SMS basis. So for this, because now it's exactly the similar computation as we did for Sx, apart from the sign plus minus and an extra factor of iota here, apart from that it's exactly similar. So I would just write for you the explicit form of sy operator. So the sy operator, and this all is for electron, in SMS basis, and I would write it again that this is s squared and sz basis, and this would be in half plus half and half minus half basis. This could be written as the h bar by 2 iota, this is plus iota h cross by 2, and this is 0. So this would come out to be the explicit form for the sy operator. So now I would very quickly rewrite all these operators that we have just derived, the form of operators for an electron. And this is very important in SMS basis. And this S is S squared and SZ, so that is S squared and SZ basis. So this is important. This is very important. So for an electron, these spin operators come out to be, so for Sx, I could write it as, I take this constant factor of h bar by 2 out, you write it as 0, 1, 1, 0. For Sy, I can write it as, again taking the constant factor of h bar by 2 out, I could write it as 0 minus iota, iota, 0. And for Sz, again once again taking h bar by 2 out, I could get 0. So these are the three form of matrices, spin operators that correspond to an electron or a spin half particle. And we also had s squared. I would just write it here for completeness. The s squared was 3 by 4 h bar squared 0, 0, 3 by 4 h bar squared. So this is something that you should know, and we have derived it, but for now I'll be dealing with Sx, Sy and Sz. So now we have successfully derived the form of the explicit form of matrices that would correspond to the spin operator for an electron. And this is now a pretty nice achievement, because now the operators are in the form of matrices. So now you have concretized things, those abstract formalism that we have been doing. So we know how to deal with the explicit form of the matrices. So there is an eigenvalue equation. You can solve for the eigenvalue equation and find out the eigenvalues and eigenvectors. So everything is just mechanical computations from here on. These things, finding these forms was a bit of a task, but everything from here on would be a bit simpler. So now where Pauli matrices enter into this picture. So Pauli matrices are nothing but the spin matrices corresponding to a spin half particle or for an electron, excluding these constant common factors of half h bar. So this is how we define the Pauli matrices, that S vector would be equal to sigma vector, and this sigma vector, as I write it here, this sigma vector is what we call the Pauli matrices. And in explicit form, if I write these as, so it has three components, sigma x, sigma y and sigma z, and the exact form of these matrices could be written as, just starting from here and exclude these factors of h cross by 2. This is 0, 1, sigma y would be 0 and sigma z would be minus 1. So this is how we define the Pauli matrices. So Pauli matrices are defined for a kind of mathematical convenience, because you know that these constant common factors of half h bar, they are not going to affect the form of the eigenstates or the dynamics of a quantum particle. They are just going to appear as a multiplicative factor for the eigenvalues. So that is why it's not always very convenient, or it's not always very clever to keep working with these factors of half h bar. We can as well get away with these factors and include these in the end if it's needed. So that is why for this mathematical convenience, we define these three matrices excluding these factors of h bar by 2, which goes by the name of Pauli matrices. And one more important thing is that these matrices have very interesting properties that could be written in a nice mathematically simplified manner. So it's good to define these matrices and just get away, just not work with these constant factors for the time being. So in nutshell, Pauli matrices are nothing but the spin matrices for an electron excluding the constant factors of half h bar. And one more important thing is that these matrices, these Pauli matrices, as they are written, as they are defined, and as you will find it in many textbooks, these are the matrices written in the S squared and SZ basis. And that you can also see from here that it's the sigma Z matrix that is pure diagonal, and sigma X and sigma Y are not pure diagonal matrices. In fact, these are off diagonal matrices. So these are the Pauli matrices, and I think that this is pretty much for this video. In the next video, we'll see. So in this video, as we have developed, we have found the exact form of the spin operators for an electron. So in the next video, we'll see what would be the exact form of the eigenstates corresponding to an electron, eigenstates of the spin operator corresponding to an electron. And then you'll see that the difference between the description of the states from what you have been used to from your harmonic oscillator or maybe hydrogen atom problem. So this is what we'll do in the next video. So if you have any questions or comments or suggestions, you can write to me in the comment section. I'll be happy to address those. And hope you liked the video. If you did, then please hit the like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.